how much are you actually paying? I call it a hidden tax for not prioritizing your mental well-being. Your mental health is your emotional, psychological sense of self. And it's not only in your head, it's connected to your body. It's actually an extension of your body. But I want you to stop and think about it, right? The fact that you avoid addressing yourself and prioritizing yourself by, yeah, avoiding it. Maybe you think the work is hard. Maybe you think you don't need it. Maybe you think you don't need help. You understand yourself. If you understand yourself and you function exactly how you want to function and you have a sense of fulfillment, that's great. All power to you. That's not for you. But I want to bring your attention to the fact that we are being told that the inner work and working on yourself and mental health, it's difficult, it's hard. Somehow people don't have the time, right? Yet, every day, the hidden tax is being paid. So, when you're not working, when you're not functioning optimally when it comes to your mind and your emotions and your mental power, your brain power, i.e., you experiencing chaos, depression, and yeah, chaos and depression, let's keep it simple, then you cannot work optimally. So you can't make decisions. Decisions that you make and action you take, you haven't decided on. So you're very easily manipulated into doing something you don't want to do, or buying something you don't want to buy, or investing your energy somewhere that it's wasted because you're investing it into someone else, right? So examples would be, if you have a high potential, if you're ambitious, but you haven't been prioritizing yourself and working on yourself, on your inner world and on your mind, then you're going to be very frustrated because what you're going to do is going to be mediocre and it's going to be stuff that's not really aligned with you, right? And that in itself can create sadness. What I'm saying here is that the fact that you live in survival mode, you have no capacity for change, you have very little energy. For creating, you need energy. For new ideas, you need energy. In survival, your capacity is shrunk. You're only surviving, right? That's why people who are anxious are exhausted because you're constantly fighting. You're putting fires inside of you and around you because that's how it manifests, right? So there's no space in your nervous system for new ideas, for pushing through when things get difficult. That's why a lot of people give up because they're just exhausted. They get exhausted very quickly, right? So this is the hidden tax. The hidden tax is things you want to be doing that would actually bring you happiness and fulfillment. So ask yourself whether you want to keep doing that. Another situation in which you're paying the hidden tax is your relationships. Because one of the things that happen in the survival mode is that you're afraid to use your voice and you're afraid to say and ask for help, even articulating your need. I need time now. I need to think about it, right? So you can't communicate with the world and you can't communicate with other people because you're blocked. And again, you contracted, right? Because there's no energy. You can't breathe, right? Because the breathing is affected as well. It's very symbolic. That's why you're having the same argument over and over. Because if you are being paralyzed by a conversation, which happens a lot when people are anxious or depressed, actually, when you're depressed, you don't even care. You're numb. But then you can't really move forward in your relationship because you can't solve problems. You can't negotiate for yourself. You're being manipulated. You don't choose. things are chosen for you. Because again, the choice, it's a skill. And you feel like you don't have a choice when you live in survival because you're hijacked by your inner state. So again, we keep thinking that the solution is outside. That's why we think, oh, I need this strategy, I need a coach, I need this or that, or if I had more money. The fact that you don't have the money also comes from the fact that you haven't even thought about it, why you don't have the money. There's a pattern there because you didn't get there in 2 days. This has been going on for a long time. So that's why I say it's like people pay in a lot of different ways. Another thing, all the stuff like you're doing compulsively, drinking, gambling, buying things, and the things you do while drinking, they get you into more trouble. But the problem is, or eating stuff you shouldn't be eating and then feeling horrible about yourself. Again, these are soothing behaviors because nervous system needs soothing. And if you're anxious, you need to stop the energy, right? And you need to calm yourself down. And again, lots on offer when it comes to that. Yes, that's why people want to numb themselves because there's a lot of energy in anxiety, right? One of the survival states is excess energy in your system. So you somehow want to stop it because you're restless, you fidget, you're constantly on the go, right? And the only thing that can stop you or excite you is something that takes your attention away from this. Very often when people eat, everything stops because all the energy goes into digestion, right? Or the first drink tastes the best because it has the biggest effect of the nervous system. It calms you down. Alcohol does that, right? Or whatever the thing you're doing. Or you go on shopping spree with the money you don't have. Again, so you paying for neglecting yourself, you paying for not paying attention. That's why we still pay attention. Because with your attention, you pay in other ways for not paying attention to yourself. Okay? And in depression, what happens is that people want to feel something. Because depression really is about numbness and despair inside, right? So people who are depressed, they want to feel something. That's why very often stuff they do is about self-distraction, right? They literally harm themselves because feeling pain is better than feeling nothing. So ask yourself this question, whether you want to keep paying this tax, this hidden tax. And there are a lot of other things, like it's your growth, it's your progress, but just these three things: healing and growing and inner work. It's about creating space for change and building useful energy. Because when you have excess energy and it goes into stuff that is random and aimless, and you're just repeating the pattern, a lot of people probably benefit from that, right? So people who overwork themselves, who overcommit, who go to every single party, you know, they're the soul of the party, right? There's a burnout coming. That's why people can't rest. So, yeah, do you want to keep paying that tax? Inner work is about recognizing your patterns, validating your patterns, understanding why they're there, and undoing them consciously, mindfully. It's not going to happen randomly. It's not. Your nervous system needs you, your mind needs you, and you can't really outsource it. No one can do it for you. No therapist, no coach, no book. Everyone needs to get to know themselves and, yeah, start paying attention to themselves. Never give up on yourself.